went to the post office yesterday to pick up a package with all of my newest locks you see here. But the one that I want to focus on today, instead of all of these guys, is this package. It came all the way from Sofia in Bulgaria. They contained this interesting lock here. Looks rather unassuming. You can see it's called Sonico. At least that's how I believe this is pronounced. I do not speak Bulgarian. But it's an interesting little Euro cylinder, very small. And it came with the original box, brand new. Now for the few words that I was able to translate on this thing, Sonico is obviously the brand name. Down here we have Sekretna Kluchalka Bodyguard. Now from referencing their English language website, this translates as cylinder lock bodyguard. So this is the bodyguard model of the Sonico cylinder locks. Over here we got some gibberish, whatever the Bulgarian word for 1 million is, and combinațiu, I think. I'm assuming that means something like over 1 million different key differs or key combinations. And then razmir 2626 is the length of the sides, 26 millimeters by 26 millimeters. Some other random information about the lock that I can't read, except for the length. Satin is the finish, satin finish. And then sonico.bg is their website. But we don't need the box, we need the lock. Now, looking at this lock, it doesn't seem too impressive when you take a look at the top here. You see one side only has 4 pins, and the other side seems to only have 3. But then on closer inspection, you have this cut in the 3-pin side, which I think it's safe to assume is an anti-snap feature, which means this would be the outside of the lock, would be the outside of the door. So why would they have 3 pins, the lower security side, and there's no way to fit a 4th pin in there, on the outside of the door, and the 4-pin, more secure side, relatively speaking, on the inside of the door? Well, start taking this key out and kind of get an idea of what makes this lock different. Kind of pull it out a little bit and still going. Seems to be a magic trick here. This key actually extends the entire length of this 52mm lock body. In fact, this is now officially the longest key of any lock that I own. And I checked, I've got this here. It's another 7-pin lock. This reading lock, not even close. And even the largest pin doubler key I have in this RR Brink 6-pin mogul cylinder still just barely beats it out for this tiny little lock. So you'll notice on this key the bitting is actually the same on both sides. It's not much of a bitting. So the way it works is it goes all the way through both sides, and the cuts are the same, but they're mirrored straight down the middle. And it actually has to engage the pins, if I can get the key in there, in both sides of the lock for the lock to function, which presents a challenge to us pickers to get into this thing without a key. Because take this standard Peterson gem, if I hold it up here, I can reach 6 of the 7 pins, but that 7th pin, no way I'm touching it. Now, I could do one of two things. I could cheat and pick one side, turn around, pick the other side. But I know nobody watching this video is going to ever accept that as a successful pick. So I had to modify my own tool. This is just an old Southord flat steel pick. I believe it's Southord. And I just filed off about a ½ inch of the shoulder. And now you see I can reach back right to that last pin. So I can actually pick this all the way through the lock. So I'm going to get this guy chucked up in the vise, and we'll see just how much resistance this Bulgarian technology puts up. Be right back. Alright folks, I got this guy chucked up in the vise now, ready to get to work on it. I've got it mounted upside down, the same way that it would be mounted in a door, since it's the Euro cylinder. I'm going to try out the key, make sure it works, and we're not bound up on that tip or on the cam piece. And I also put a little mark here on these sides so you can see the rotation of this inner or outer core as I get it picked. I'm going to start with bottom of the keyway tension and just a standard Peterson gem. It's a little bit easier for these closer pins. Alright, bound up on 2. It sounded like it was set. Pin 3, set, pin 1. And there you see that rotation on the core. It means I've got the outer core set. So I'm going to swap my tension to the center of the plug. This will give me plenty of room to work with my modified Southord pick. I'm just going to reach all the way back there to the inner core. Now, since I'm tensioning this plug, which is tensioning the cam piece and then tensioning the inner plug, I've got to put a lot of tension on this, and it's also got the effect of sort of deadening my feedback a little bit. You can see, oh, there we go. That was quicker than usual. So there we got it picked. That may have been the fastest I picked this thing. Let me take it out of the vise so you can get a closer look. Core 1 is picked. Cam rotates freely. Core 2 is picked. So line it so the bottom of the keyway is lined up with the top pins in the Bible. Let's go and get this vise out of the way. Try to keep this thing in frame while I move it over. And let's get to good. So we don't need the key anymore. Don't need those picks anymore. I'm going to need my Euro servicing tools. I'll do a follow-up video, a little more detail of what these tools are, where I got them, and how they work. But for now, we're just going to do the basic gutting. Pull out these C-clips on both sides. These ones are particularly annoying. Got one. And got two. Make sure we don't lose anything here. Alright, now we're lined up. I'm going to just arbitrarily choose the outer core to gut first. See, again, the bottom of the keyway is lined up with the top pins. I'm going to use this pinning shoe, slide it in there and hold those top pins in place. I'm just going to gently slide this plug out, and you can see the inner pins are held in place by that bar. I'm going to put in my follower. It's got a notch that fits right over that bar, and slide that guy right out. Now for the next side, I got to pull this guy out just a little bit. Not enough to drop any pins, but just enough to loosen that cam piece. And then I'm going to rotate it about 45 degrees so that the pins don't pop out through the tailpiece of the plug. Alright, now our top pins are contained in the body of the lock. Then we'll get to work on our plugs first. Let's get a little closer here. So do the outer side first. Pin 1, pin 2, pin 3. These are all standard key pins. The inner plug, the inner plug. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All standards. Now let's get the top pins. Just a second here. Make sure you guys can see this pretty good. Alright. Pin 1, you can see is actually a key pin, and it's got the tapered end sticking downward towards the bottom pins. And that sort of acts sort of like a T-pin. Makes it so you have to sort of hit the pin again once it's been set. Alright, those are out. Inner side, once again, that first pin that just dropped on the floor. I'll show you that in a second. That one is also a key pin. That one's just standard. Standard and standard. Then we'll dump out all of our springs. They're all the same on both sides. Get these guys lined up. And let me go hunting for that pin number 1. And there he is. So let me give you a close-up of these guys. All standard pins. Nothing interesting about these plugs here. All the chambers are just standard. It's a closer look at that keyway. You can see how it's mirrored straight down the middle, so the key can fit in both directions, front and back, straight through the entire lock. Here's the body of the lock. You see the Sonico branding on the front. Again, nothing special on the inside there. Now, for the sake of keeping this video a reasonable length, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here. But if you guys are watching, you want to see me reassemble this lock, if you're unfamiliar with Euro cylinders, or if you just don't like seeing a job left undone, I'll go ahead and make a separate video of reassembling this lock. But for now, that's it. Thanks for watching. Side 1 and side. Well, fuck me.